Hello, my name is Tiziano, and I want to talk about this principle, a new epiphany that I had recently, like a really new idea that I had recently about giving advice for free. So, if a family or friend comes up to you and you give them advice, and that advice leads to a positive result, then that is what I mean by, you helped someone for free. If you give someone advice, but they don't use it, they don't take it, they don't apply it, then that doesn't count. If you give someone advice and they use it, but it actually hurts them, again, that doesn't count, and I'd be wary of that relationship. So, when it comes to giving away spiritual teachings and spiritual information, I still do believe that that should be given away for free because that is the source of all the other stuff. Um, if you get your spirit right, the other stuff should be, if you learn how to focus your mind, you should be able to succeed in the other aspects of life as well. But the problem that I've had over many years is I help people who have money, right? People who have money, they ask me for help, I help them, and then things don't turn out well for them. Now, some people might look at that and say, well, the advice you're giving is leading to a negative outcome. And now I would say it's not that it's leading to a negative outcome, it's that it's just the beginning and the advice isn't being because no money is being exchanged, because I'm not taking an active role in their lives, they're taking one piece, they're running with it, and uh, they're not like continuing the journey with me. They just want to take that one thing from me, run with that, get the result that they think they're after, and then move on. I have to explain myself a little bit with this, but there's a guy, years ago, he wanted help with finding, a wife, and I did find him a wife, and they're married. They're still married today. They got married, over 10 years ago or so now. Um, but it's turned out bad for him. Now, he had sex with this woman uh, too early. It was by accident. I know that that sounds unusual, but he accidentally had sex with her. Uh, and and because of that, he kind of felt like he was forced to stay with her, and so he stayed with her, and they ended up getting married. Everything looked good on the surface, but eventually, she something happened. I'm not even sure all the details, but she sort of turned on him. Um, they're still together, and I don't know much more about the situation other than that. Now, I've got another situation where I helped him, and he started seeing results immediately from the advice I gave him. Now, see, at that point, if I had have been who I am now, I would have said, "Listen, you're seeing results. I want to be financially compensated. I know that we're friends, but the reason I'm saying that is because if you don't financially compensate me for the help I'm giving you, then for one, I'm not going to keep giving you the advice, um, and two, uh, and that second, and that is problematic itself because I need to be constantly supervising and monitoring the situation so you don't trip yourself up. And two, if you don't give me money, then you might end up, tripping yourself up in ways that you can't anticipate. And that's exactly what happened. So there's that. There's another person I know who I helped with their health, not romance, but health, right? Also finance. But in life-changing ways. If I save your life, how much money should you give me? Let's say you're a millionaire. Let's say you have $1 million in your bank account, and I save your life with health advice. How much money are you going to give me? Are you going to give me a petty $1,000? This is the kind of questions that I've been asking recently. I don't have answers to all these questions, but in this case, I did help her, and she has stopped helping me financially. And what I've noticed is her health has declined. So I helped her with her health, and now her health is returning, slowly returning to something, uh, you know, serious. So, and she's been emotionally miserable and other things like that. But so, again, um, what I'm drawing on here. Bainzer says if you're a poor person and you help a rich person for advice, you should charge money. And Bainzer, the mastermind, said that. He also said that if rich people have health problems, to fix their health problems, they should obviously take the remedies that are prescribed, but in addition, they need to part with their money. They need to give their money to the poor. Not all of it, but you should be giving at least 10%. In best case scenario, 50%. In worst case, 10%. And this is all written down. You can find this in spiritual books that are free to find. Spiritual books do give financial advice as well. Um, okay. Now, recently, a rich person came up to me and wanted health advice, and I gave them, and then they didn't show any gratitude. They didn't want to help me at all financially. And recently, another woman came to me for soulmate advice, and I started giving her bits and pieces. And who knows whether she's going to run with that or not. She hasn't contacted me since. Maybe that bits and pieces that I gave her was enough for her to run with. But if she contacts me again, my attitude today is very different than what it was then. I am going to ask for money, and I want $10,000 minimum. If I'm going to find you the man of your dreams, not that I'll do it personally, but I know the systems, the formulas that you need to execute, that I expect to be compensated generously. $1,000 doesn't change my life unless I go and trade it on the futures market and make a fortune. So, my attitude these days is very different, not just with strangers, but friends and family too. Uh, I think that pretty much everyone in my life has a lot of money. My two best friends are full timers, and one of them is going to Thailand soon. To go to Thailand, you've got to have money. And the other friend of mine, he's been putting money away, and he's thinking about buying this huge machine that costs $5,000 or some enormous amount of money. Uh, so he's got money too. Now, I haven't helped either of these guys too much. Like, I haven't saved their lives in their health. I haven't romantically did too much, for them. One of them a little bit, yeah, I have. But with this, I'm just going to start telling people, listen, I want to help you for free, man. I'm selfless guy. You know that. I want to see you right off into the sunset with all the money and the woman of your dreams. I want all that for you. I want you to have a spiritual life. But if I give you advice, what I've found is that it just doesn't work out unless money, is exchanged. So I know a guy who did give me money, and he's doing well now financially. He's actually prospering, and he's doing well. I've had other people try to contact me for advice, and I've just refused them, and they've resented me for it. Now, probably because I didn't explain it the way I'm explaining it in this video, but my attitude towards this is just completely different today. I'm almost concerned, like almost don't want to give advice, because then I burden that person with the advice. I burden them, and then they feel burdened that they have to pay it back, and they might not want to pay it back. So look, at the end of the day, if someone is penny pinching and frugal to the point of cruelty, then you've just got to go, you know what, you're frugal, you are penny pinching, you're a hoarder. Hoarding is one of the root of all evils in this world, people who hoard money. I can't help people in your situation. If you want to give me money, if you want to stop being a hoarder, then yes, I can help you, because I know your situation, I know what you're dealing with, and I know it's pretty easy to deal with, I think, from my perspective, but it's really hard to deal with when you don't have the knowledge. So that's where I'm at. And if you guys are in this situation where a friend comes up to you, a relative approaches you, or some stranger approaches you, and you know in your mind that you can help them, you have the answer, you can just tell them straight up, listen, this isn't spiritual advice, okay? Spiritual advice is given for free. I have advice that I could give you, and it could help you, it would help you, but I'm not going to give it to you, because if I give it to you and for free, it's not going to work out for you, because that's what I've seen happen in the past. If you want to negotiate with me and discuss how much money you could give for this advice and how much money you can afford, because if you only earn like $100 a week, I'm not going to expect $10,000 from that person. But if you earn, one of these guys that I was consulting recently was earning $70,000 a day, and he wouldn't part with 2,000 of his jelly beans to help me out when I needed help. with my health. So, because I need help, not with the advice, I know what I need to do. I just don't have the funds to do it all of the time. So, so that was my situation then. So, these are the types of things that, types of ideas I want some of you, not all of you, are going to use and need to have listened to this video lesson today. But in the future, it's probably going to happen where you're going to need this information and you're going to remember watching and listening to this video and going, you know what, there's wisdom in this. And I don't want my friends and family to suffer, but for them to stop suffering, they have to part with their money. They have to part with at least 10%, best case 50%. In some cases, people shouldn't be giving away 50% of the money because it's too much. But what I've noticed is if you don't part with 10%, you will have financial problems. If you don't part with 50%, you'll have societal, or I should say, friendship problems. There just won't be, you don't won't have many friends in your life. That's kind of what I've said. It just depends on your situation, of course, and where you're getting the money from. If you live on donations, these rules don't apply. If you live on commerce, which is most people have day jobs or have businesses, then that portion of that money needs to be going to the intelligent poor, not the stupid poor. No one ever said you should give money to drug dealers and prostitutes and stupid poor people who don't want to do anything for themselves or others. Selfish people who, once they have money, they spend it all on themselves and they don't want to do anything for others. I'm not talking about those people. When you give money, you give it to the intelligent organizations, spiritual people who are trying to do good things or are doing good things. They could only do more good things with more money. The intelligent poor, not the ignorant poor, not people who refuse to read. I met a woman recently who's never read a book. She doesn't like to read. She refuses to read. Okay, those people, as beautiful as she is, they're not the types of people that you help with your philanthropic money, whether it's 10% or more. So think about these things, and I hope you do well with this information. Don't be a fanatic with this information. Don't misinterpret what I'm saying. Do the right thing with it, and be gentle with people, be courteous with people, be respectful with people. They don't really know what you know, and we have to just understand that going into these contracts, going into these conversations with people, we just have to explain things as best we can, almost as if we're explaining things, to a 5-year-old, um, because we don't want to come across as materialistic people who don't do anything for free, because that's not true. But we really have to explain the situation so that they understand that we do want best for them, but we can't really, you know, do it effectively if it's done for free. Unless you're super rich. If you don't need the money, that's different, right? Because you need other things. If you've got a lot of money, you don't no longer want the millions. You want something else, and that something else may come from that person. But you've got to assess the situation yourself and see where this information belongs and where it doesn't belong. Okay, because even virtue has its place. Virtue doesn't belong everywhere. Okay, all the best.